Welcome to The Switch, podcasts that are wired to online and offline marketing.
Alrighty, we're talking about new trends and developments in the branding and web space and technology space, should we say?
Absolutely.
Wayne, what's happening in your world?
There's been a lot of change in the graphic design space, and I think a lot of it has been driven by designers wanting to upsell and essentially make more money. And a way in which they're doing that is selling the whole brand strategy, whether that's a discovery type session or whether that's as an added service. And so what they're able to do is upsell their business. But the reality is they are bringing really good information to the table for a lot of their clients, and we do the same thing. It's about trying to understand more about our clients and what they're envisioning to do, so that we can then create an identity that's going to fit with their business and where they're wanting to go. So it is essential, but it is also being just handed around so much. So it's a bit of a buzzword, a bit of a trendy thing to say and do, but I do believe there's a lot of businesses that are not quite doing that, and we prefer not to say brand strategy completely, and let me explain that, because brand, as you know, is everything. There's so many implications right through to the management and budgets within a business, and of course we don't do that. That's not where our strengths lay, and a lot of businesses in our space are doing the same thing.
Yes,
and so we prefer to we work around the vision of the business, understanding their personas. There's a lot of discovery about what they're really wanting to achieve, and their tone, and what they want people to see when they look back at them, without going too much.
Do you find a lot of businesses really, even though they have a business and they've been in it for like 10, 15 years, don't really know what their brand stands for?
No. So it's really good for them, because they're actually discovering something that they never really sat down and, how many businesses just get going and they're making money and they're full steam ahead, but they don't look back enough to understand why people are buying from them, what they see when they buy from them, and so then understanding their brand is really good for them. So, that little 2 or 3 hour session has been really worthwhile for some of our clients. They've had those aha moments, and it's really helped them clarify what they want to be doing and what they're trying to achieve. So, there's business coaches that are coming in and going, this is great because our clients are really I've really got their head around it now. They're in the game, and they've actually re-enthused.
Yeah, I was going to say, does it re-energize a business?
It does. It absolutely does. So it's great fun, and for us, it's essential to get our head around our clients and understand, so we can give them what they need. But it is being used a lot, and I fear that it's going to be watered down by people that are using it but not necessarily doing it the right way.
It's like user experience, eh?
Yes.
It's a trendy thing to say.
Yep.
But unless you really know what you're doing,
and that's why we've pulled it back. We're not overselling it. We're not.
Yeah.
Ours is about it's still understanding their brand and discovering what they're about, but we're not doing a full strategy session. That could take 12 hours. It could be 1 or 2 days with some companies. We're not.
It could go on for the whole 12 months, couldn't it?
Yeah.
A whole strategy. It depends on
exactly
what the scope
right.
is.
Yeah, and the way people buy from us, that's not necessarily what they want, but they do need help and direction in a small, controlled space, so that we can get our job done properly for them. And in that scenario, in that sense, it's well worth it, and it's great fun. It's really cool to see clients transform themselves in that regard. So, it's a bit of a buzzword in the marketplace, mate.
But how often would you do this type of strategy work? Because brands change, companies change, brands change.
Yeah,
they have offshoots of different.
Yes, we work with companies that they're actually continually in a state of flux because of their market and the product or service that they're selling, and they're right across their businesses. So they're on it. They've got their finger on the pulse. And so they're always doing reviews, and normally it's just 2 a year. So it's like a half yearly type scenario. I'm then planning for the new year. And then we've got clients that do it once and never do it again. And then we've got clients that don't want to do it at all. They've got their shit together. They know they communicate well with us, and we don't see the need because they're across everything, and we've got the information we need to perform our tasks properly.
Yeah.
But it's especially essential for businesses, as you would know.
Yeah.
In your space, businesses change. The market is constantly changing, especially now. Yeah. And to stay on top of it is it's a smart thing to do. It really is.
It just makes everything so much harder when you haven't got clarity on your own business, isn't it? Yep. And I'm sure everyone will be surprised that how little they have done on their business and how much value it can actually give to a business.
There's a very small percentage of businesses that we deal with that really do have their shit together. Yeah. Like they're across everything. And it's actually refreshing and surprising. But it's also just as much fun working with someone that's been in operation for 10 years and then they sit down for the first time and do some strategy or strategic thinking around their brand identity and how they sell and what people see when they look at them. And, that's refreshing and that's good fun because you just see that transformation.
And more often than not, these businesses go on to actually relaunch their business and take it to the next level.
They do. And they get the dividends. They really do. We've proven that. They get the results, but they're taking it seriously. So there you go, mate.
That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, brand strategy. Takeaway really is if you hear the word brand strategy, make sure you know what you're getting. Yes. And if you don't go for a strategy session, make sure you understand what you're hoping to get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is absolutely essential.
Yes. Awesome.
In the tech space, though, there's a little bit of a development which is sort of linked to this sort of metaverse type thing. Okay. And you do wonder whether this piece of technology has actually had inside information whether this was going to happen. So you may have seen it on the TV. If you watch TV nowadays, not many people do. Rayban stories. Okay. So this is a piece of technology where obviously, we've had VR glasses, we've had Google Glass. Yes, was the first incarnation of this, but this Rayban stories is basically a whole. It's a technology. It's a set of shades or a set of glasses that have obviously a camera, but have a whole heap of interactive functionality, bits of functionality built into it. Like you can listen to your phone calls, you can listen to music. It doesn't, as far as I can see, it doesn't. There is no screen in front of the visor. Yes. Yep. But you can actually share your stories, and it's almost. I don't know if you've seen that UK comedy Peep Show. Yep. It's sort of like that where you can actually interact. Someone's looking straight at you, so you can actually interact directly.
Is it kind of really just jumping in on that the GoPro space as well, where you've got people that are doing action stuff all the time, but now you've got some really cool shades in which to do it in?
Well, that's pretty subjective, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, look at if you look at their website, they are partnered with Facebook. Yeah. So it's pretty pretty clear.
Yep, there's a bit of stuff going on.
In the background.
There's a lot of businesses that have already jumped into the whole metaverse. And if you're looking in the space of crypto, there's a whole heap of stuff and movement going on around this metaverse.
Oh, really?
Big bucks.
Okay.
So and it's some companies have been and floating their ideas for a couple of years now. So it's been the what's actually going to happen has been in the market space for some time. It's just only now becoming apparent as to where it's going to go and what it's going to affect. Wow. And I think the Facebook changeover has been the one. That's a blaring alarm going off to say that, okay, this is real and it is going to happen. So if you're in the crypto space, start looking at some of the stuff that's going in and around the metaverse too. So some interesting.
I'll be chatting to you a little bit afterwards then. Me and crypto don't have a great relationship.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I don't think too many of us do.
Jeez. So here's a question though, and it is inevitable that you will get the visors that actually come down and feed your information, like all
Exactly.
these sci-fi films that you see out there. So the question is, will there be a point where you could actually tap into someone else's glasses and look and see what they are seeing?
I think that's a definite possibility. In fact, I think I would not be surprised if that's already been looked at. I don't know where to go with this.
That's
Steve.
a hard one, isn't it? Because you feel the technology is there.
Yeah.
And it is a little flip of the switch, and you can actually just look at what other people are seeing.
And let's talk about something else that's very relevant at the moment, and that is privacy and privacy issues in the online space, offline space, and obviously what's happening with with cyber security, hacking, and all the massive shutdowns on some of the biggest systems in the world. Well, something like this, the whole privacy thing is going to be a minefield.
Gone, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's
like putting Alexa in your
back
room, innit?
I know. So, I don't know, mate. I don't know where to go with this. But look, it's amazing, and you can see there's so many positive things that come from this. But humans being human, and there's different spaces for humans to exist in, and some of them aren't very nice.
Yeah,
and I could see a whole rife of problems and complications around privacy and everything like that too. So, exciting times ahead. A fair bit of uncertainty and a little bit of worry. That's what I'm feeling, bro. That's what I'm feeling.
If you one day saw, an afternoon of what you were seeing on YouTube.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know. I mean, it's memories, it's making memories and all that sort of stuff as well. Imagine let's look at storage and how that's all going to work.
Yeah,
it's technology. So the whole thing. And if I just jump back into that crypto space again, if you follow crypto, it's all around technology. Okay, it's all around technology and what people can do to lock it up, secure it, provide it free, and who's building platforms to keep on building blocks and providing services. This sort of thing will lock beautifully into something like that. So in fact, now that I've seen this, I'm going to do a little bit of snooping around and see what's coming around this and what it's connected to, and the technology behind it, and the storage. It's the storage thing that I'm interested in.
Okay.
So when you're taking this information, how is it held? Where's it being uploaded to? And how is the transfer of that information going to be processed? That's the exciting space.
But someone like you're interested in it. Someone like me, I think it's quite an amazing advancement in technology.
Yep.
Whether you like Ray-Bans or not.
Yep.
But but we're in that space. We've looked out for this sort of stuff, and we immediately think, what are the positives? But then we definitely, for me, I sort of lean on the negative.
Yep.
And think, geez, what could people do with this data? Because you're just feeding so much visual. I mean, Google Photos, if they sort your photos based on who is in the photo nowadays, so they've got such good object recognition these days.
Yeah.
That wowza. But we're in the space. What percentage of the population are not in the space who will just buy these, thinking, "Wow, that's really cool," and not really care.
That was actually just going to say that. I said we're at a certain level of maturity in our lives, and we have that experience, and there's going to be a whole stream of a younger generation of people that don't have that, and so don't see the cons in something like this. Only see the pros. They're just going to go, "Oh, unreal, fun. How are we going to do that?" So then it's going to be up to the companies that are running these and putting these products together to either do the right thing and make sure people are protected, or it's going to be a lawsuit waiting to happen. I can't believe that's going to happen, because a company like this has got the connections and knows what they're doing. But it still begs the question around, the bad things that can come out of this. So let's wait and see. But it's cool, and Ray-Ban's a very strong brand on the world market, and for them to be, essentially the first company that I've seen bring something like this out, that's a big move for them. It's a big move into the future. So, let's watch this space and see how this pans out. But I'm glad you brought this to the table today, mate. Yeah. So this is very, very interesting.
Very, very. I mean, it's not really a future development. It's the development that's just right here and now.
Yeah, and it's been fine-tuned over the years.
There was a big spike in spike of the population that got had mental health issues when Facebook first got released.
Yep.
It was the big social media boom. And you can't help thinking that this is just going to up the ante that's a little bit more than you. So watch this space, ladies and gents. Rayban stories. I'll be interested to hear what your views are.
Absolutely. Good stuff.